Hello.
No,
Good evening to you.
good morning to you.
How are you doing?
Massively triggered. So three main things happened. Uh, so I had my birthday 2 days ago, and of course, exactly in my birthday, after the gym, I go to this restaurant, and then I see there my former best friend and his friend, one that also owes me money. So as I go into the restaurant, I see the other guy, and he looks at me. I look at him, and automatically I'm nodding my head as a greeting. And then I see the other friend, and it took me it took me a few moments to realize what the fuck is actually happening here. Um, that triggered me. Also, my ex left me a note, a happy birthday, saying how much she is, our journey is hurting and full of love, something like this. And
That was the same day on your birthday?
yes, and do you remember? We have been with the exile that saw my mom like peeping through the keyhole, right?
Hmm.
So, like half a year ago, when my ex touched one of my best friend in a non-friendly way to make me jealous, I was so triggered. It made me, when I was diving into it, I puked. So this girl O that I'm getting close with, we don't have any boundaries or label on our dynamic. So I was at ecstatic dance, and she uh, sat beside me. We were, the usual. And then towards the ending of the ecstatic dance, there is this guy that I know uh, was dancing in front of me, and they know one another, and they started to dance and got very, very, very close. That triggered the shit out of my system. Not only that, when the music was over, people chill and cuddle, so they were cuddling in front of my fucking face, like a meter away from me. So I noticed that this wall was coming up and putting a filter of hate towards both of them. Once again, and I was able to talk with this wall, and it became aware that it is trying to protect that child that saw my mom having sex with this guy,
Hmm.
and I was able to connect more with that 6-year-old. Yeah, so I was able to yesterday after the ecstatic dance to sit with it and get to know and feel that 6-year-old more. But a beautiful thing that happened after the ecstatic finished and she was about to live with him. She came to say goodbye to me, and my heart remained open towards her.
Hmm.
Take me back a year and a half ago, I probably couldn't even look her in the eyes.
Yeah,
And today, I
it's really
also,
powerful.
Yes. And
That's what,
today, and when she was, hanging out with him, there was a part of me thinking, I wonder if she is totally fine with it, because if I was in her shoes, there is a part in me that is restricting to a degree my sexual energy and the demon part when it comes to other women, out of fear of triggering her and then uh, eh, getting abandoned, right?
mhm,
So it was very interesting to me if she and she was completely free. I was like, that's quite the gap between us. That's interesting. And today I saw her at a restaurant randomly, and I came and said hi, and almost immediately she said that she's sorry. I'm like, why are you sorry? And then she was thinking about me, and she was afraid that she was triggering me, and so on. And my heart was very open and loving towards her, which is quite a fucking surprise. And I told her that there is no need to be sorry because, you know, you you have your freedom, and thanks to you, I'm getting more in touch with my own pain and trauma. So I'm thankful
mhm.
for that. But still, the pain of that exile, that 6-year-old is, I experience it with this heaviness and this sense of doom. And his heart is completely broken and shattered to pieces, you know, from the perspective of seeing my mom. So what I suggest is that you speak with him directly and get to know his pain. And
And
at
why
some
is
point,
that? Why do you want me to speak to him directly? So I'm speaking to whatever part is telling me to do that right now.
um,
I'm curious why you need to direct the work that Neo does.
because there is a lot of inner work being done, and to have that part being connected and
Yeah, but I'm
exposed,
curious why Neo isn't able to meet with these parts.
he is able to a degree.
Okay. So why don't we just see what happens rather than you directing it? Would that be okay?
There's resistance.
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
The resistance is saying, dude, just trust me. Do that. The kid will expose his pain more, and then self will come
Yeah,
in and help him.
I wonder why you don't trust Neo.
It's not that I don't. It's just that there is this filter that we spoke a few sessions ago to a degree. There is more self energy, that's for sure. For example, yesterday when I was being the therapist, let's say the levels of self increased probably in like 20%.
Yeah, it's just a curiosity that I have that there's a lot of direction here, which certainly isn't self energy. That's um, an agenda.
I understand where you're coming from.
So I'm not opposed to it. I'm just curious why it
Mm.
has to be that way.
Because that's what feels right.
Okay. Okay. Let's see how it goes.
Hmm.
So you want me to speak to whom?
To the child, I can,
Okay. Is the child available? Is he here? I'd like to speak to the child.
yes,
Okay. So you're the child that was triggered by the dancing and everything that went on this birthday weekend?
I can see my mom with this boyfriend of hers through the
Hmm.
lock,
And tell me about the block.
through the hole.
Lock. Okay.
Mm.
It's possible that is a block too. Hmm. Yeah. So when you are looking through it, what is it you see or what is it you feel? What is it you want me and especially Neo to know about that?
I can see them naked, and she's on her belly, and he's behind her, and she's reading a book. And when I see it, I don't understand what is happening. I don't understand why it's him and not me. Why is she touching him and not me? My heart is aching. I can't stop watching. I also experience this kind of arousal, and I don't understand why she's choosing him and not me. I experience as if somebody is taking a knife and sticking it to my heart
Hmm.
endlessly while feeling aroused.
It must have been confusing for you.
Oh my God, my heart is aching. And it makes me hate him.
What do you want to do to him? Do you want to punish him or hurt him in some way?
There is a part that wants that.
Okay, but not you. I don't want to get sidetracked. So, yeah. What are you experiencing?
I experience being shattered from the inside.
Mm.
It's like there's a, it's like something is like this. Can't
Mm.
comprehend, can take it.
I guess I would just add it isn't something that a child that young is meant to comprehend, and yet you were here experiencing it.
And I don't understand what's wrong with me. Why is she not doing these things with me?
Hmm. And do you
And
want
there's
answers to those?
and I I it has to be my fault that she was doing it with me. And then self-hate comes.
Mm. Do you want some answers to those questions? And or what did you, well, you believed you were bad. You believed you were wrong. Has anyone shared with you the truth about what happened?
I don't know, my heart is breaking.
Mhm. It's where I'm thinking an aspect of Neo can update you or help you have some awareness of what went on. You were little. It wasn't meant, it never was meant for you to understand.
You can see the demon is sad. I look at them and I can't believe my eyes. I want to be instead of him so badly. And I don't understand what is wrong with me that she's not doing that with me.
So who would you like to ask to get answers? Do you want to ask the highest version of her? Get those answers from aspects of Neo.
Demon is touching me from behind, puts his hand on me to be able to fully experience what I experience. And he says that he's here and he's here to feel my pain and to help me.
Mhm. Are you open to receiving that help from him? There may be some updating or even a redo that you might like to have with him and or with the highest version of your mother.
I'm starting to cry for some reason.
Yeah. Is that crying okay? Is it all right for that to happen?
Demon saying that he's here to feel everything with me together, but I'm not alone. And that he understands that I made it mean that it's my fault that I'm not getting this love from her. That he can understand how badly I miss affection from her.
Hmm. Yeah. All you wanted was connection with her. Would you like to let her know that?
Demon is sharing with me that he can see how tragic my life is with mom. How time after time I was left at my grandma's house, feeling abandoned. The physical touch that I got was abusive.
Mhm.
And all I ever wanted is her love, and now he's getting it.
It's great. Glad.
And then he says, if I'm open to consider that it might be not my fault, then I'm telling him that it must be my fault. So he asks me why. And then I say, well, maybe if I was what my mom wanted me to be, then I would get her love.
Hmm. And what was it you supposed your mom wanted you to be?
Be obedient and to not be like my biological father, which but it's impossible because I have his genes. So no matter what I do, I will never get it. Because when she looks at me, she sees my father. So the demon is asking me if it's my fault that I have my father's genes. Now I'm confused.
And what are you confused about?
Because how can it be? I didn't control my genes.
Hmm.
I was just born with it. And also anger is coming up.
Yeah. Is it okay to be with this anger? Mm.
The anger is saying, well, maybe it's not my fault, maybe it's her fault.
I'm curious if it has to be anyone's fault.
The anger is saying it has to be.
It has to be her fault.
Definitely not mine.
Mhm. Tell me more about your anger.
All my life I was made to believe I was sick when I wasn't. And that child was convinced that if he were to be a good boy, he would be loved.
And did did that work? Were you a good boy and were you loved?
The anger is saying that that boy has become a fucking robot, shell of a child, and it didn't work.
That's sad. It's sad for him.
Yesterday, when I was at the ecstatic, that child understood that I'm also a part of him. And he disowned me.
Hmm.
And self was helping him with the demon. So I was, the boy has become aware of me, was afraid of me, believing that my presence will drive away, my presence will make him punished. And it was correct. Whenever I came up, he was beaten.
I'm sorry that happened to you. I'd like to speak to the little boy, if that's possible, the one who was beaten. I'm just curious, what were you feeling and thinking when that was happening to you?
When I was beaten,
Hmm. Yeah.
that I deserve it,
And why do you deserve this?
because I wasn't a good boy.
Mm. What did you do that was bad? What made you a bad boy?
I was at times too loud or disrespectful or saying things I should not have said. The angry part is fuming.
Yeah, he doesn't believe that you were bad.
Well, what it says, I'm starting to be more open towards it. For example, he shows me how my mom said that she never lies, and then I caught her with a lie.
Hmm. I'm speaking to the anger part. Do you want to come back in and share more? You're welcome here. Or did you just want to share that?
Tears almost came up again for a slight moment, and then my heart started to ache.
Hmm.
Can't believe fucking the kid finally understands or starting to understand. But I
And what
understand
does
that
he
he needs
understand?
his time. I was so cut off from him. What did you say?
And what is this little boy? What does he understand? Maybe we can ask him what he understands.
He's starting to understand that I'm not the villain.
Yeah. And what I'm curious about is what he understands about all of it. Yeah. But he doesn't understand. But he does understand you're not a villain. I'm glad you're not a villain. You care about Neo. Don't like seeing him mistreated.
Oh God, my heart hurts. My heart hurts because I couldn't protect him. So it was impossible. She was just stronger than me physically. kid is still looking through the keyhole.
And what is he seeing? And I mean more than just his eyes. What is he seeing? Would he be open to sharing that? What is he experiencing and feeling and telling himself and hearing from other parts about this experience?
He's looking at what he always dreamed of, which is closeness with her.
Mhm.
And how attainable it is, and how beautiful she is. And then this maybe God, another part comes in,
Mhm.
trying to sort of stop the pain by telling him that he's trying to kill the expectation, telling him
Mhm.
that she will never love him. Then this sense of doom setting in.
Mhm.
So that part is trying to kill the hope, but it didn't work. It's just another layer of protection that didn't solve really anything. Fucking crazy. Now I can see how when I was in my early 20s, my mom was sunbathing naked, and the
Mhm.
exact same scenario.
Wow.
The, I was in my room and I looked through the fucking keyhole at her sunbathing.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I'm curious about this doom kind of blanket over the heart kind of part. This is also the part that when I walk around and that part kind of numbs the desire to engage and approach.
Mhm.
And that part is very, very subtle and sneaky nowadays. That's the blanket part.
Yeah. And does it want to share with you about how it comes in? Is it wanting to, it seems like it was wanting to let you know and some things to share with you.
I see a scene from the Hunchback of Notre Dame when Quasimodo sees Esmeralda with this blonde guy, how they kiss, and then he has this card with a heart on it and he tears it apart.
Does that make sense? You following that?
The part did his best to try and avoid danger by making the kid invisible or silent
Hmm.
to try and numb the desire of closeness with her.
Yeah.
Fuck, it's fucking exactly what's happening nowadays. It's crazy. But when the kid is looking through the keyhole, as if time froze, and it's the same way, like in the movie AI, when the kid goes down into the ocean and sees the blue fairy, and then it freezes. And the angry part is basically the killer part, but a young version of it that is looking at the kid and feels for him so badly.
Hmm.
The demon is proud of the killer part and encourage him to keep connecting.
And what are you connecting with right now? What are you noting?
How the killer part perceives it as when I got into the whole pickup and seduction world when I was 20 years old, how he internalized that basically that boy is being weak and pathetic and being needy. But now it's different.
Hmm.
Now
What's
it's
different now?
now it's just fucking tragic.
Is that part willing to share what's tragic?
The child is not weak. He's just a fucking child that has his
Hmm.
needs not being met.
Yeah. And I'm curious if he'd like to have his needs met now. Does he know that that's an option?
Yeah, the demon is saying we need to keep it emotionally processing first. Then
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad that he knows it's available.
the demon is saying that the killer needs to connect with the pain to have his heart soft.
And are they okay with connecting?
It's
You
happening.
can ask them. Good. Your system knows what to do, which is good.
So I'm as the killer, I'm holding this judgment towards the neediness and childish behavior, but I can understand deeper now that it's just tragic. And I experience something is shifting in me that scares me. So the demon is asking what is scary about the shift. What is scary to me is I'm afraid of falling into the trap of not being aggressive enough when it comes to boundaries nowadays,
Mm.
out of compassion towards the tragedy of others. But then the demon is saying that the opposite will happen because there will be less judgment and more self-energy and more clarity to understand incompatibilities rather than going through the torment of attracting those negative experiences into my life to understand what I'm understanding now.
Hmm.
If that makes sense.
That doesn't make sense to your system.
It makes sense to me.
Oh, good,
Logically, it makes perfect sense.
good. Let it know that. The one that's like, does this make sense? Let it know it makes sense to you.
The demon is teasing me, telling
You said
me,
teasing?
yes,
Okay.
asking me if it's too much what I'm experiencing.
And you can respond to it. Yeah. Seems like it isn't. Seems like you're okay with this.
He knows
Is
that
that
even if
true?
I wasn't, I would say I'm gay.
Oh, but maybe ask him why. Why is he teasing you?
To bring some playfulness into.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm as the clever part starting to understand that I'm using a filter of judgment towards neediness. So
Hmm.
I will not
At the right
experience pain.
time, the right time, the part can unburden that belief, unburden that shame.
I opened my eyes and there was a part that saw that you're not looking at the screen. Now he's disconnecting me.
Oh, okay. I would ask him. I'd ask him about that.
So that part is afraid that some part in you is taking you out and not being fully connected with my system.
Some part of him or some part of me
Part in
that
you,
is not connected to your system.
the part that is disconnecting me, thinks that you're not looking at the screen and looking somewhere else.
Hmm.
So a part in you is taking you out from our session to a degree.
It doesn't want to interfere with your work, right? Because you're doing deep work with yourself, and I don't want to interfere with that.
So that part says that he needs you to, he wants you to do the opposite.
Okay.
That it's not
All right.
interference, it's connection.
Okay. I hear that. Can receive that. Okay. And who doesn't want me to connect with him
All my
or
parts
the,
want you to connect. Does that make sense or am
yeah,
I?
yeah.
For example, when I open my eyes and I see you looking at the screen, there is a sense of relief coming to the system. Okay, so that part relaxed.
And who are you with now? What part of you is connecting?
To the killer part.
Okay. What is he sharing?
But just like how the blanket part came in to cope,
Hmm.
the killer also has judgment as a coping mechanism.
Right. Right.
And
So
he,
who holds it the most? The killer or the boy?
the killer,
Okay. And what is it you hold judgment about?
neediness,
It's not okay to be needy. What do you believe about being needy?
that it's gay, as in weak,
Hmm.
and only brings trouble. But then the
How did
demon is
you,
saying,
what is the demon saying?
aren't children supposed to be needy?
Well, you believed somewhere that that isn't the case, and I'm curious where you learned that.
Well, I just saw that whenever he's trying to get her affection, he gets hurt.
Hmm. Yeah, so you blocked that, right? You blocked this desire to need.
Yes,
And how did that go? How did it go for you to block that?
went well.
What did it bring you in Neo's system?
It minimized the negative reactions from my mom.
Hmm. That makes sense. But it seems like it also brought no connection or limited connection then with her. That wasn't your fault, but it seemed like that was a unintended consequence.
It was intended because
It
connecting
was
with her
intended.
brought pain.
Okay. So you limited pain and also brought disconnection, which it sounds like that was your goal.
Yes,
And it seems like some other part somewhere is longing for connection.
yes.
Okay.
And that part came up with my first girlfriend and ruined the relationship
Can you tell me more about that? What do you mean? Or how did it ruin it?
because that part was extremely possessive and needy and toxic at times. So
Of
she could,
of you, the part of you, you're saying. I'm just
yes,
making sure I'm following.
yes.
Not her. She wasn't toxic or needy, and maybe she was, but you're talking about you.
Yeah, I'm talking about
So-
my system.
Okay.
And eventually, and I totally understand her, she couldn't take it anymore, so she broke up with me
Okay. And you dislike that part of you.
I s- when I became aware of the world of seduction and pickup, yes, then I started to understand why things happen. So
What is it you understand?
that certain behaviors are extremely unattractive. So
Okay.
I've learned to a degree how to be more attractive. And about a year or year and a half or 2 years, no, about a year after we broke up and I got into this whole world, we met and the dynamic with her completely flipped on its head. So then it gave even more confirmation to my disdain towards being needy, which I equate as being a beta male, which I label as being gay, which is weak. But now there was a problem.
What's that? What's the problem?
Is that it doesn't make any sense for me to treat with a judgment toward the child.
Well, I'm just going to speak to you this part directly. Like, I mean, you were doing your job. You were helping Neo the way that you understood to help him. And it seems like now that there's more access to self energy, you see things differently now.
Yes,
Okay.
and it breaks my heart.
Yeah. Does the little boy know that? Do you want to let him know?
Hmm.
And I
I'm
just think it's
noticing
important for you to know that you weren't doing anything wrong. You were just doing what you understood, what you understood to help him.
the demon is saying that things are different now,
Hmm. Yeah.
and that the judgment that I hold i- is acting as an opposite force towards what I want
Sure. Makes sense. What do you want?
to be liberated from a sense of worthlessness.
Okay. Would would it be all right if we asked the little boy if that's what he wants? He might use different words, but does he want liberated from shame? Does he want freedom from feeling bad about this?
Something is not clicking.
Something's not clicking. Okay. What are you
The demon is
noting?
asking me what scares me about opening my heart even more towards the child.
Probably in some way you might be afraid he'll be hurt.
I experience myself to be such a stone cold motherfucker that I don't even know how to interact with a child.
Maybe you used to be stone cold. Maybe your heart is melting.
Well, it definitely is.
It must be strange or different for you, right? That's a new orientation for you to have as well.
The demon is asking if I understand why it would be in my best interest to have my heart melt even more. Well, seems like the only path to liberation.
It's in the best interest of this child. I can speak to that, right? Because so maybe if you asked him, it might shed some light for you. Why would liberation, and I invite you to ask, why would liberation help that little boy? In turn, it will probably help you.
Well, it seems that as long as I have this judgment or ice, as long as I hold that, the child will be frozen.
At a time, there was probably a time that was what you wanted.
Correct.
I don't think you want that anymore. Or you're wrestling with that idea, maybe be more fair.
Wrestling is accurate.
Would you like to name that? Would you like to speak to your challenge around this and his liberation?
I hear a part in me saying, what the fuck? We're actually approaching this trauma. So I'm asking that part if it's okay to approach it.
Mm.
And that part is saying, well, you guys will do it anyway.
Why does it think that? Why does it think it would happen anyways?
Because it's here and it has manifested, so it needs to be dealt with.
Yeah, but everyone has a right to an opinion, right to their experience. So do you.
Yeah, I'm just surprised by all the things that are happening recently. Shift.
Okay. Is this shift okay, or is this too much for you?
Something was overwhelming, and then
Did that take you
I
out?
I I heard that there was a fear that if the killer's heart will soften, then there will be more compassion towards that former best friend that I just saw 2 days ago.
Okay.
And then what?
Maybe a part isn't ready for that.
Yesterday I heard parts that miss him.
Hmm.
So the killer is afraid.
Right. So should we talk to the killer about his fears?
The demon is showing the killer how well respected were his boundaries when my ex sat in front of me. So the demon is saying the same will happen to all of them.
Does the demon believe that? Does he accept it?
This is what the demon says to the killer part.
Oh, I said the name backwards. I'm sorry. Does the killer accept that?
The killer understands that, and now he's trying to imagine how it would look like if there would be more compassion towards that friend.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna let him know that doesn't have to be his job. I hope he knows that.
He
He
knows
doesn't.
that. His job is to put a boundary on the trauma bonding and the shadows of denial. that stem from a desire for connection that
Mhm.
distorts incompatibilities and toxic behaviors in others. So
Okay.
in
So
order for the killer part to soften his heart, he needs to have trust that
so I'm going to speak to him because there's a part that's working really hard right now. So do you trust that? And I'm speaking to the killer. I want to make sure you know you don't have to. All you have to do is be you.
I have experienced that I was respected when there was this situation in front of my ex. Okay, so my
I don't-
boundary would be in order to open the door for potential friendship, I will need to see that former friend take full responsibility towards me and towards Rachel, bring me back my money.
And if that's not possible, then what happens?
Also, I need him to be in a place of having stable income and a public apology.
Hmm. And if those things aren't possible,
Then I will not open the door for friendship.
okay. So you know too, you don't have to connect, right? You know, it's not you that has to connect,
With
or the
him,
correct,
I'm not about connecting with him. I'm about disconnecting from him.
right? But you're saying, you know, connection can only happen if these things happen. I just
Yes,
wanted to make sure you know it's not you who's connecting.
I know.
Okay. So what if other aspects of Neo do want to connect? And I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just curious about this because it seems
There
like there
are
are.
other parts that want to connect. They miss him very, very badly.
Mhm.
They fucking
And you're
perceive him as being a future father for my children.
and it's your job to make sure that they don't get carried away, I suppose, and leaving
Exactly.
it sort of. Okay. Right.
But then the demon is saying something interesting. He says that there is a degree of trauma bond happening with that former friend. So if I were to soften, so we could help that boy, then there will be less of a trauma to bond with.
Hmm. Right. Yeah, I receive that. So what is your thoughts about that? What do you think about what he's saying?
Makes perfect logical sense.
So, and I hear the hesitation, which is reasonable. Maybe there's something you're holding or you're carrying that isn't serving you.
The judgment,
And why is it you believe it's not serving you?
because the judgment perpetuate the condition of the child that is burdened by worthlessness.
Okay. But I guess where I'm getting a little twisted is you want to make sure that he doesn't change. Yes?
Child,
Yeah.
I do want him to change.
Okay. So if that's true, maybe you might have to change first.
Exactly.
Because if you hold this judgment, then it's gonna, in a way, get in your way.
Exactly what the demon said.
Is that something you want to consider now, or do you need more time with this? This, because I mean, this is really new and big for you.
It feels good to be seen and connected with you, and you are correct.
I I didn't hear the last part there.
And you are correct. I also use hate as a mechanism for
Mhm.
disconnection.
That's something you want to transform to? Is that why you shared it?
I can see how it overshadows self. And when I look at that girl, oh, it did feel better to be with my heart open rather than being in a place of hate towards her.
Mm.
It's interesting.
You didn't know that before. It's new.
It's a new experience because I would use hate as a wall to disconnect.
Sure. It kept the boy safe.
Exactly.
Does he need to be safe in the same way that he used to?
Hmm. Well, the logical answer would be no.
Well, I'm asking you though.
Well, I'm very logical, so
Okay. I wonder why you said it that way then. But
I say it this way because doing something that is irrational, I perceive as weak
oh, okay. All right. Is it all right if I say something challenging to you?
always.
You might have done some irrational things, but that's all you knew. That was all you knew. They seemed rational at the time.
Exactly. So at the time, it was logical.
Yeah. But now maybe they're not so logical.
Exactly.
Right. So that's why you're ready to change, it sounds like, or one of the reasons why.
Not following logic is weak to me. So
Yeah. Makes sense. That makes sense. Um, we're nearing our end, but this is where we should come back next time to you, the judgment part. You're the you are the killer, right?
yes,
Yeah. And how you've been judging the young boy and help you with that, those judgments.
yes,
And I guess I should be super clear. I don't mean like trying to change your mind about your judgments. You're entitled to your judgments,
I know. I
but
can
it
see
seems
where
like
you're
you
coming
want to
from.
change them. Yeah. And I just encourage you, and which I know you will do, but keep meeting and keep connecting with those and clarifying them so we know what to work with next time.
Thank you very much. It
Yeah,
was a
you're
very
welcome.
needed session.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, it's lots of clarity, right? So we know where we're headed.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
So see you next week.
Great. Yeah, we'll see you then. Thanks.